Welcome back to the absolute last episode of tonight. We've produced so many, but tonight we are looking at Ideanomics stock. So this is symboled as IDEX, and of course tonight is the first time that we have actually taken a look at this one. So in this one we want to have a quick look at it, have a look at the financials as well. We're going to have a look at some forecasts for the future and other, important factors which you might want to know. So if that sounds like a good video, please do like and subscribe. Of course, you guys already know right now, we are trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber milestone, and then we can progress on from there. But, if we could just get to 1,000 as soon as possible, it would be appreciated. So if you could help us, it would not go amiss. Of course, come and join us on our Discord server. It is absolutely free, and we've got like 70 members now. So, of course, the more, the merrier, and it's a very nice place to be. Link in the description. Right, so let's start off this video. So Ideanomics stock, let's have a quick look at the move of the stock over the past, over the past period, basically. We're going to start off on the 1 day, move out to the longer period, and see how the stock has been performing. On the 1 day, it does actually look to be slightly in the red, but not honestly anything really too worth noting. We started off the day on lows of basically about $2.62, shot all the way up to $2.76, and then basically we're flat ever since. Of course, we did actually come down slightly, but we didn't really move too much. We saw a little bit of a pump towards the end of the day, pumping us back up to $2.86, but we kind of leveled out from there. So looking out to the 5 day, we are massively up actually. If we get this from a percentage view, it is 71%, so not bad at all. Obviously, that's quite a decent gain indeed. And of course, when we look at so 1 month, it just becomes a lot more apparent. So on the 1 month, we are up hugely, about 200+% according to Google, so that is decent to see, absolutely. And of course, most of this has come from the past week. It does look like it might be taking a small sell-off now, but that is not necessarily a bad thing. So of course, looking out to the 6-month period, this has been quite the volatile stock. It has not really done anything since about, let's call it August time, when the stock basically flattened out at this point of between $1.33 and about $1.50, and then it leveled out and went down to $1, even to a few pennies at one point at lows of about 70 cents, and then we saw this huge shoot up towards the later part of this month. So of course that is decent indeed. I think a lot of this is coming from the fact they want to expand into another business. I think that is definitely going to have a positive influence on the company. So let's have a quick look over to the company's description. So Ideanomics, according to CNN, is basically focused on facilitating the adoption of commercial electric vehicles and developing the next generation of financial services and fintech products. So the firm operates through Mobile Energy Global, MEG, and Ideanomics capital business units. Its electric vehicle division, MEG, provides purchasing discounts on commercial electric vehicles, EV batteries, and electricity, as well as financing and charging solutions. Ideanomics Capital includes DBot ATS and Intelliger, which provides financial services to powered by AI blockchain. The company was founded by Shane B. McCaholm, that doesn't really matter, on 2004. This was the 19th of October, by the way, and its headquarters is in New York. So that was a lot of reading, and I messed a lot of it up. But basically, to summarize, the company has lots of units, but the ones which are the main units are basically focusing on electric vehicles, and you can basically purchase electric vehicles, but not only electric vehicles, charging stations, and also electricity itself in bulk, and also at discounts for companies to buy. So of course what this means is that you're probably getting a better deal going through this company than you are going through for it for yourself. And of course, that is probably a good thing to see for the company's potential in the future. So we can all see the benefits of this one in the future. This is just one of those business-to-business type models where basically they are doing something for another company and it's just helping them out because they don't have to pay as much sourcing vehicles. They get a discount, they get everything done very easily. And I think this is potentially something good for the future. Like I said, a lot of this is about commercial vehicles, so if that's worth noting, I personally think it is, because obviously if you're selling in bulk, commercial vehicles is where it's going to be at. For example, a bus station or a truck company might be buying loads of vehicles at one time, whereas an individual would not, but of course I think that basically goes without saying. But yeah, I think it's potentially a very cool model that we have here, and I think if this is all about electric vehicles, which, spoiler alert, it is, we have not really seen much of the growth which is forecasted yet, because obviously if we are seeing big growth coming. This will be when electric vehicles really do start to move even further into progression. Now, please don't let that sound like I'm living under a rock. I know that electric vehicles are good enough already. I know that we've seen things like Teslas, which can do, large distances. I know we've seen things like Xpeng, Neo cars, which we are seeing. But let's face it, okay, most of the cars which are being produced, most of the cars which are being sold, and definitely most of the cars on the street right now, same goes for trucks and buses and all kinds of vehicles, by the way, they are mostly diesel or petrol, especially for commercial vehicles. That's noteworthy. A lot of commercial vehicles all around the world are diesel due to the fact that diesel, generally speaking, gets more gas mileage and, of course, cheaper for the business. Now, electricity is even more efficient than diesel, and it's also better for the environment. So, of course, good brand image and also saving money. Also, electric motors are cheaper to, basically run than diesel engines due to the fact that not only are the fuel prices cheaper, but there are also less physical components, so possibly less to go wrong in the actual motor itself rather than in the diesel or petrol engine. So of course that's a big benefit there with going for an electric solution over a diesel or petrol solution. Mainly diesel with this one when we are talking about big companies, but yes, we can see basically the benefits of this company, not to bore you too long. So yeah, we're going to move on to the financials right now. Of course, these are written in shorthand and these are coming from Yahoo Finance. We can see figures from this year and from last year and also from a few years ago. So we have today, and I don't even think this is right to be honest, but according to Yahoo Finance, and this is of course the source which I'm using from, if it is wrong, please do tell me in the comments. They say that we are looking at a year's total revenue this year of 15,753, down from 44,567. And I think, yes, that's probably a bit too low, but I think, if anything, that will be due to the fact that people have been locked at home and whatnot. And, from a business perspective, does it really make sense to buy big commercial vehicles right now if you're buying things like a bus when nobody's going on it, or if you're buying things like a lorry when potentially you're not transporting as much? There is a message from our Discord, feel free to come join it. But yeah, where was I? Yeah, when you're not transporting as much assets or as many people, it might not make sense to spend as much on a new vehicle. So I can see where that decreased revenue figure is coming from. Cost of revenue is extremely high this year. So I think that is either wrong once again, or it's a case of they have taken out a loan or something. That's absolutely fine for the long term. Obviously, loans and negative earnings per share, whatnot, is not necessarily a bad thing to see. And gross profit figures are only in the hundreds now at 837. So obviously that's significantly lower than in 2019 when this was at 43,109. So potentially still a great steal there for this company if it is going to increase into 2021 to 2022, which I definitely think it will. Looking out to long-term period, I'm talking very long-term, because I think with a company like this is where we are looking, because like I said, for years to come, I definitely think that petrol and diesel, specifically diesel, is going to be the king in this market. But when we do get these regulations for 2030 emissions bans and whatnot, this company will probably start to take off more then and leading up to that period. But yes, I definitely see this one being a growth company. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, if you're holding it for a long term, the financials right now don't really matter too much. So we're not going to go over them too much. So obviously we have seen what we have seen here. And I think that is just enough to give us a general picture of how the company is moving. So looking at from these analysts over on Yahoo Finance, we can see that on the long-term period, the stock was actually doing well, the company was doing well, but in 2020, they unfortunately took a slight dip for whatever reason. But you know what? There we go. So let's have a quick look at our forecast on here. So if we have a quick look at our forecast on CNN Business, we actually only have one, unfortunately. So we have one analyst which is reporting a 12-month forecast, and they have a median target and a high target and a low of 5. Obviously, all of those rolled into one because it's just one person reporting. So basically, this analyst thinks it's going to hit $5 in the next year. And that would represent a 85% increase in the share's price. So what do I personally think about this rating? Do I think it's undervalued? Do I think it's overvalued? Well, like I said, for the long term, I definitely can see this one doing well. And for the long term, in the next year or so, not looking into the next month or the months coming, I definitely can see this one doing $5, potentially even more in the next year. I definitely think this is one of those ones which is underhyped. And I think if it does get a bit more hype surrounding it and regarding it, it could definitely get a big pump up to new new highs. And I think that's completely possible, and I would definitely like to see that happen. So that would be nice to see, but we'll just have to see. Once again, due to the fact that analysts sees a $5 rating, they are saying that you should probably buy the stock. And when it comes to buying this one, am I saying that you should buy it or sell it? I would say this is going to be one of those speculative bets, in my personal opinion, in the sense that it's not really got a lot of hype around it. When we're looking out to 5-10 years, of course, if you want to hold it, it's probably a good one for then. But if we're looking for a short-term gain, it's probably not going to do much until it gets some hype regarding it. And I think that's completely possible to pick it up in the next months or so. We have seen stocks go from penny stocks to worth, tens or even hundreds of dollars in a very short period of time. But I definitely think this is one of those ones where it's 50-50. I definitely think it's on my radar. I'm definitely going to keep my ideas on this one, keep my eyes on this one, and see if it's going to increase in price, and then whether it might be a buy. But I don't know, guys. What do you think? If you have any suggestions, come and tell us on Discord. Feel free to join us over there. Link in the description. Other than that, thank you for your time. See you there. Goodbye.